It was 2015, and at that time I was finishing my third year of bachelor's, and I think I was around 19. Yeah, I was 19 years old. I was very happy because at that time I got an internship in a German company in Berlin, and it was all to do with structural engineering, and it was very relevant to the field in which I was already studying in, which was civil engineering. And of course, I was very happy. The first day I go in the company as a complete noob. So everybody was like, dressed in the casual clothing. Of course, it's not their first day of work, but I came in with a suit and everything because I was like, it's better to be looking a little bit more formal when you come inside. All right, great. I think the first impressions were, at least for me, like not so bad. I think other people must have definitely thought like, what a clown. But hey, you learn with things, you have to realize like what kind of company you're going into, and a little bit of like reading about the culture is generally important. Most of the engineering companies you will find, they're not so heavy on going inside with a suit and blazer and everything. Like this is going to be more relevant when you're going towards management consulting, you're going towards law firm or IT consulting and things like that. Blazers and stuff are generally appreciated there, but like in the engineering companies, most of the times they're like super chilled out with the dress code at least. So I start working there. In the starting, like I'm not able to understand a lot of things because all of the system was in German, and at that time I didn't know any German. So I was like, hey, is it possible to like get the system in English or something, things like that, like asking them a lot of questions. And many times the things which were there in German, they were like kind of understandables. Like if you would know the German meanings of those things, you would be able to do the things. It was not possible for me at that time. Slowly and slowly, I think like first week went by, and I was like rather good with the software. The software that we were using at that time, it was for CAD, and the name was Rhinoceros 3D. They were not using AutoCAD or others. So I was like, okay, like I'm good with this now. And then came the time when I started asking questions. And in the starting, like the first question or the second question, they were like, yeah, they told me about like what to do and things like that. But slowly and slowly, I think like after the third question, it became like, yeah, have you taken a look on Google? Have you taken a look at the guide in the tutorial of this software and so on? And I was like, okay, like this is interesting because like this, like whenever you get the first or second responses like that, you have to know that like maybe what you're doing right now is a little bit too much. That was the first experience of like knowing like what are good questions to ask, because when I was asking questions about how to make the loads, or if this has to be done differently, or if I can like look for another pattern of the roof and things like that, there were some good and positive responses. But when I would be asking questions which are actually stupid and things which I can look by myself directly by a Google search, that was something which was not really looked up upon. Like that was like, why is this guy asking such stupid questions? And this is something that I didn't realize back then, right? Like this was something that I was still like in the learning phase. And the thing is, like recently I started a series on Instagram about stupid questions people ask about studying in Germany. And many of these questions are actually terribly stupid. Like the ones like which would have any kind of self-awareness, they would understand like, asking questions like these wouldn't really make sense. But people still ask because people are in learning stage. And my idea, my motivation by starting this series is not to tell you that like you're stupid for asking this question, but to give you a framework of what kind of questions are generally looked down upon as stupid, because these questions waste everybody else's time. And they don't have to, because right now you have Google with you, right? Like everything, most of the research that you have to do is just a Google away. So that was the first phase that I had of, first experience I had of like, understanding when the world is essentially telling me that this is a stupid question and this is not a stupid question. Then came the time of like, applying to universities and stuff. And this is again where I realized that every single time I was asking a question which was easily available on the website itself, I would not get a good response. Like I would either get no response, or I would just get a copy paste email. Makes sense. I mean, the information is already out there. But every single time the question would be little bit more interesting, had a little bit context to it, was looking like I did some research on my own. I showed them, hey, I found these and these results, but I had a question here. Every single time I would ask a question like that, that would always give me better response. That was, so first time you saw during the academics, second time I saw during like the application process, first time in profession, second time in academics, and the third time was, I mean, it was like pretty straightforward, which was like, starting my own business. So in when you're starting your own business anyways, like nobody's going to like feed you things. Nobody is going to like, spoon feed you. Like that's the ultimate level of self-reliance. Like you will not go on a higher level of self-reliance than you relying on your own efforts for earning your own food. If you don't wake up in the morning and you don't work, you don't have any money coming in the day. Like, it's almost like the um, daily wage thing, right? When you're having employment or something, it's great. Like you don't have to, even if you make some kind of mistakes or something, it's the company which is going to be liable for that. It's going to be a group which is going to be liable for that. But very rarely the direct consequences of the mistakes you will do as an employee or as a student will come back to you. Very rare. As a student, what kind of mistakes can you make? Yeah, okay, you can like, maybe write some wrong questions, you can maybe do the assignment not so well or something, but this is not going to be a life or death scenario. This is not going to be something which is going to take the food away from your table. When you're an employee, you make too many of these mistakes, it is going to come back to the food. And when you like, start doing your own business, then it is like ultimate level. If you make mistakes, it is going to directly affect you. And when you're starting a business or something, you will like very quickly realize that there's nobody who is going to like spoon feed you information. There's nobody who is going to just like, put everything on the plate and like go ahead and, I'm going to like tell you everything. So what do you do next? Because many times it is always important to get some kind of guidance, get some kind of idea about things, right? Now, when you're starting your own business and you're getting idea about things, you will get idea about things from people who are already way further than you are, right? This means, first of all, their time is very important, and you have very limited time and very limited favors that you can count on from them. So any kind of question that you're asking, let's say any new person that you meet or any new person that you're trying to ask questions, like maybe you have like 2 or 3 questions in your pocket that you can ask. After the second and third questions, people start getting annoyed. And this is a very normal phenomenon I have seen everywhere. And this is the reason why I say like, there's a reason to distinguish between like stupid questions from good questions. If you're studying in a university, you're having lectures from the professor, ask questions, right? Most of the times professors are not going to kind of tell you that like you're no longer in my class because you're asking these questions. That doesn't happen. But in real life, there's a huge difference between asking good questions and asking stupid questions. And that's the reason why I told you that with any person, any new person that you're trying to ask something to, your favors are going to be always something that you can count on your fingers, 2 or 3. And you have to, whatever kind of things you ask, they have to be like limited to these things. Because when life goes on, like you will not just be a student for the rest of your life. It shouldn't be either, because you have to take up some responsibility, you have to earn your own food and so on. You have to do things which change the world or make the world a little bit better place to live in. So whenever you go towards that direction, you will be trying to get information from other people. You will try to get mentorship. You will try to get some kind of advice, some kind of counsel. So in those kind of scenarios, it does make sense to really differentiate between these two things. And I think there's also a very simple guideline to understand what is a stupid question and what isn't. If it is a question that you can directly, very easily find on Google, find it on Google, because that way you're saving your time, because you're not writing an email or something to somebody and like long question, things like that, and you're able to read it directly on Google. And so that's the first guideline, how to differentiate between a smart question and a stupid question. If you're able to find it on Google, find it on Google, you're saving everybody's time. Second thing is going to be if something which is going to be too specific for you only, right? So for example, sometimes people ask me questions about, sir, can you please tell me if I should go for this specific course or if I should go for this specific course? Now look, there are people who always try to be a smartass and they're like, yeah, this course is better, this course is bad, blah blah, all of that nonsense. What you have to understand is that any kind of course is started in a public university after a lot of thoughts, after a lot of organization, after a lot of professors who work on the curriculum of these things. And these are all like smart people. These are all people who have survived in their life, have gotten to a level. So generally there's like not really a scenario of bad course and good course. It is purely a scenario of how do you find that course, right? It is individual to you. Maybe you have a lot of interest in the subjects which are going to be taught in a specific course versus the other course. And again, this is a thing that people like, fail to realize. And what comes the next step? The next step comes that people just say, all right, like, it is too much for me. Like, I don't have an idea about these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hire a consultant who just does all the application for me. And I don't want to have any part of it. I just want to outsource this to somebody and they just do the things for me and I'm covered with everything. Now that's the ultimate level of stupidity. It's the exact same level of stupidity like having arranged marriages, because you're just letting somebody else make such important life decisions for you. And if something goes wrong, there's going to be absolutely nothing to be blamed but yourself. You can say that, okay, like, my parents found me a wrong bride or something, or my consultant applied to a wrong university or something. No, it was you who was that stupid, who let somebody decide such an important phase of your life. You just gave it to somebody else. You just outsourced it. And that's a bad idea. And this is the reason, like, you have to be very careful with these kind of things. You have to be very careful with understanding what kind of decisions that you're making right now, which can change your life in the longer run, which can take your life into massively different kind of scenarios. So really focus on that. Because like you don't want to be asking stupid questions, you don't want to be outsourcing these kind of like important decisions in your life to somebody else. Yes, I mean, if you want to pay bills or something, you want to like let somebody pay your gas bill or let somebody register your car, things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's not something which is going to change your life. Car is going to get registered one way or the other, right? But if you are going to a university, you will be spending 2 years of your time in that university, and that program, your efforts that you're putting inside, is then going to decide what kind of professional trajectory you're going to have once your studies are done. That's a very, very critical thing. Those two things shouldn't be equated. And here's another interesting thing. When you are the person who does not ask stupid questions and you're doing a lot of Google search and reading about things, what happens is then you're anyways not going to be the person who is going to fall into the trap or who is going to outsource the decisions to somebody else, because you are going to have a lot of knowledge. People who generally apply for things by themselves, they're going to know about the university, know about the course, know about a whole host of other things a lot better than people who just take a consultant, let them apply for everything. Now, also you might say, okay, like, you have this course, complete course for studying in Germany or something. What does it do? Now, we don't take up things. We don't like, tell students, yeah, give us everything and we are going to apply on your behalf. We have never done it. We will never do it in the future. And that's also our plan, because our motivation is to make you self-reliant. Because when you come to Germany, it is not going to be as simple as things have been for you in whatever country you've been living in so far, because things are completely different. The system is different, especially you coming in as a foreigner. You have to be more self-reliant. You have to be able to manage things in Germany. And all of these like tiny bits of information or kind of life lessons that I'm giving you, these are very important, because these are going to set you up for a better life and for more success in Germany. Most of the other people are not going to tell you these things, because first of all, it risks, like they have a risk of looking bad in front of people. I cannot really care about that at all, because I'm at a good stage in life. I don't really need to look good in front of people. What I really believe in and what I really care about is that the time that I'm spending, like, recording these videos and stuff, that changes at least a few people's mindset, so that they're better set for huge success in the longer run, and not to please a few people who are anyways going to like, crash and burn afterwards. Like, it doesn't serve me any purpose. So focus on that. Focus on like doing things yourself. Focus on a little bit of Google research. Focus on a little bit of rational thinking. focus on respecting other people's time, and that is going to serve you massively in the end. All of these things I'm guilty of making mistakes of in the starting. I've done these mistakes. It is a part of growing up. But if I could choose not to make those mistakes and I could choose to save other people's time and save my own time, I would definitely do that. And that's exactly why I'm sharing this video with you, right? So focus on that, and if you have any kind of good questions and stuff, write it down in the comment section below. I'm making an entire series of stupid questions people ask about studying in Germany, so keep an eye out for that on YouTube and on Instagram. And there are also smart questions which I will be discussing in long form videos, because of course they just need more context to it, and the way you look about those kind of particular things is also much more important. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have anything that you want to share, let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.